Well, you guys got to pardon the wind. I guess that's what that's the price you pay when you want a 50-degree day in February. But anyhow, here's a better look at the newest Suburban to the permanent collection. It's a 79 GT18. It's the exact same year as my 19.9. And originally I was not looking to purchase this tractor. It's like, it's just a GT18, nothing special in my mind. Just an owning. Just basically it's a SS16 with 2 more horsepower and a different paint scheme. But I looked at the ad again and I looked at the pictures more closely, and then I noticed something that threw me off about the tractor, and I knew I had to have it. Not to mention the price was right, to be honest. So it does have a mint plastic dashboard on it. There's not a single crack in it, which is nice. The nose cone is a replacement, but it's broken, quite broken. But overall, the tractor's not in bad shape. Doesn't have that many hours on it. The tread on the tires is still nice and deep in the front, and the back isn't too bad. Came with 1 wheel weight. The hour meter is reading 525 hours on it, roughly. So the main reason why I ended up buying this tractor, or I should say my friend Tyler ended up buying it, and he brought it up to me, is hardware storage. Sadly, she is missing the battery tray, and for those that know, the 77 through 79 and 80 Suburbans, that's where the identity is. Without the battery tray and firewall, it's basically like buying a car with no VIN. So the guy that was selling this tractor, he's supposedly looking around to see if he can find the battery tray for it. It does have a rat's nest of a wiring harness, and the solenoid has gotten pretty much a brand new solenoid, and it got cooked. Same with the battery cable. She got real hot. But what made me really want this tractor was because of the engine. And this could be the very first one that's ever been found, at least in the Sears world. If you notice, it says B48GA018/pilot model, and then the serial number is EXP 78459. If you look up anything related to owning and pilot model, that means prototype, and EXP stands for experimental. 78 would be the year that the engine was manufactured, so 1978, and it's the 459th experimental model engine that they came out with for that year, and that's for all ownings. That's not just for the B48M or just for B series. It could be for any ownant that they had manufactured. And if you notice, it does have the oil filter block-off plate like a 78 GT18 or the 78 GT18 Hydrodrive, but there's no oil filter. I think that's what makes this an experimental engine. Because for those that know about the 78 GT18 Hydrodrive, I can try and show you guys on a loader tractor here. The loader isn't down all the way, so I can't open the hood all the way. But if you look down there, you can see right there, it's an oil filter block-off plate. And you see that white thing down there? That's the engine oil filter. In order to change that oil filter, you have to pull the cooler off, and you have to pull the hydraulic cooler for the rear end. You have to pull it out of the way, but you can't pull it out very far because there's hose clamps on the back side of the hoses on the inside of the frame rail, so you can't pull the cooler out of the way. So it kind of makes it a real pain in the ass to change the oil filter on a 78 GT18 Hydrodrive. So my thoughts behind this is that engine there was their experimental. They were going to try running a B48M without an oil filter, and their thought was behind it that engine would end up in the 1979 GT18 Hydrodrive, which never came to be. So With that being said, this is just from my encyclopedia of Sears knowledge in my head. So that being said, this is very likely a one-of-one prototype tractor or prototype engine that was put in a Sears GT18 as a test mule the year before it would have went into production. And if you guys look up the 78, 79, and 80 catalogs, you can find them on Google for free. Just search up 1978 Sears tractor catalog, and it's like the first link or something. There's basically like an electronic version of the 78, 79, and 80 tractor catalogs, and the price of a 78 GT18 was like $2,100, and then 79 it was like it was an extra $300, so it was like $2,400, $79. I might be off on my numbers a little bit, don't hold me to it. You guys, like I said, you guys can look it up if you want to see for yourself. And the 78 19.9 was like $2,200, $2,300. Again, I don't remember off the top of my head. But in 79, the 19.9, that one right there was it was $2,679. That tractor cost for just the tractor brand new. So you can imagine why you don't see too many 79s out there. It's because they cost a stupid amount of money. And if that cost $2,600 or $2,700 in 79, but in 78 it was $500 less, this tractor by itself, the GT18 Hydro Drive, cost $2,479 in 78. So you imagine if the price went up $500-$600, you'd be looking at a $3,000 tractor for a 1979 GT18 Hydro Drive if they went into production. So judging based on the high price of the GT18 Hydro Drive, it was the highest priced tractor in 78 that Sears had. They probably didn't sell too many of them, and that's why they ended up pulling the plug on it after 78 and not continuing in 79. So that's kind of the rundown of value goes, as far as, or I shouldn't say value, but the price point of the tractors new. So that's what makes this tractor odd, is because it has a prototype engine in it, and the only thing I could think of that Onan and Sears would be experimenting with a prototype engine would be for a 79 GT18 Hydro Drive that never came to be. Because my yellow 18 twin hydro, the 1977 18 twin, the engine that I put in it has an oil filter, but the tractor itself does not have the cutout in the frame with the block-off panel for an oil filter. So they apparently did not. Only some had them in 77. All the Hydro Drives in 78 had oil filters, and of course no Hydro Drives in 79 or 80. But with that being said, a couple other things I noticed based on the tractor that tells me it's a pretty early 79. It's just like my 19.9. My 19.9 is actually mostly a 78. The engine's dated 78. It has a 77 steering wheel cap in it. For what reason, I don't know. It could likely have been changed, but I actually like the look of that steering wheel cap, so that's going to stay. Frankly, everything on the tractor is going to stay the way it is. I'm just going to clean it up some, and I may swap out the nose cone if I get my hands on a nice original paint one. Otherwise, I'll repair that one and paint it. And another thing that you guys can check, if you have a plastic tank tractor, behind the taillight panel, if you notice it right there, it says date, and below that there's numbers stamped into the they're stamped into the plastic gas tank, and there's a date on there. This one's dated 1978 as well. And the deck has signs of white underneath the black, so that tells me that the deck used to be a white deck that was repainted black for probably for 78, and it was sold in 79. And I just so happen to notice now, while I was making this video, we have a small speed hole that I need to fix. That won't be a problem. But anyhow, I think that's enough rambling for today, and I'm gonna get to enjoying this weather a little bit more and get some other things moved around. But there's the newest acquisition.